Hi guys, Joe Reviews here, and once again it's that time of the year where B&M release brand new Doctor Who sets and every Doctor Who fan tries to kill each other over a toy. So this time I'm reviewing the 4th Doctor Tardis from Robot. I'm really excited to open this up. This one was very kindly sent to me by Pertwee Smith 11. Thank you very much, Ben. And firstly, let's take a look at the packaging itself.
The packaging for this year has had a major revamp, gone with the orange and purple Galaxy graphics, instead now being replaced by a sharp navy blue and white theme. While it's nice to have a change, I just can't imagine it standing out on store shelves. We finally have the Whittaker era logo on the TARDIS set with a Gallifreyan text design similar to that around the floor of Whittaker's TARDIS. A vector graphic of the TARDIS is featured, a bit annoying since this graphic has been used since 2014, just this time with the darker pull to open sign. The giant window still remains, showing the set from the front and side. The right side of the packaging displays the prototype image of the set, as does the back. Here we see a bio about the TARDIS, which is literally the exact same as last year's. Opening the set is done in the same way as previous TARDIS sets, including those pesky screws which meant I needed a screwdriver from the same place as TARDIS should have been sold. Thanks B&M. The protective packaging surrounding the TARDIS is easily removed, followed by releasing Tom from his doomed fate in a plastic tomb. And we've still got that annoying band of plastic interwoven around the TARDIS doors. A great feature of the set and a reason to keep the packaging is the background piece of the 3rd Doctor's unit lab. The door and walls are very well recreated with a wonderful bookcase featuring little Easter eggs such as the unit family photograph and a Buddha which relates to the Buddhist themes of Planet of the Spiders. There's a square mark on the floor for where the TARDIS takes off and lands in the lab, and my absolute favourite section, a pinboard with even more Easter eggs. We see the Who-mobile, TARDIS blueprints and a poster for Lee Sen Chang. There's a note left by the 3rd Doctor saying, "Chap looks familiar, must check up," which either him thinking that Lee Sen Chang is a disguise of the Master, or just a playful Easter egg with no real continuity. So now I've got both the 4th Doctor and TARDIS out of their packaging, let's take a look at them. The 4th Doctor was a surprising figure to me, as we've had this figure for quite a few years now, and this isn't really an iconic costume for the 4th Doctor either, but we've got it again, and this time with a few differences in order to improve it. Starting with the head, this uses the same sculpt as in the time capsule set, so it is a little bit different to the usual 4th Doctor one, and in the American one they just used a standard 4th Doctor head for that single carded release. The paint apps are very different compared to the time capsule release, as this 4th Doctor has a lot more of a neutral skin tone compared to the horrible orange skin tone of the one in the time capsule set. The 4th Doctor's eyes came under criticism as they did look a little bit big, and they do look a little bit big on camera, however in real life they aren't really an issue, so this figure is just one of those figures that you do need to see in person. An odd decision to this figure is the really bright red sideburns. Now they look brighter on camera, they're a bit more brown in real life. However, I know Tom did have those gingery sideburns in the regeneration scene at the end of Planet of the Spiders, but they weren't this bad, they were more blended in with his hair, so the paint apps for this are a little bit off, I do feel. The shorter hairpiece for the 4th Doctor I think is painted wonderfully. I really do love that light brown with that dark brown wash over it that brings out all these lovely curls all around his head. I think it just works absolutely marvellously. This figure once again brings back the bow tie-less shirt piece sculpt, though it has all these lovely frills that are painted in this really nice turquoise colour with this very nice grey highlighting all across the edges of the frills and the buttons. Unfortunately though, the waistcoat inside is not painted though, however you can't really see this when it's on the shelf. A major improvement to this figure compared to the previous release is the edges of the lapels. Now on both versions of this figure previously, they'd done a black gloss on the edges, and that's not correct. This grey is a lot more accurate. However, there are a few accuracy issues in terms of the placement. Now the grey trim, it should have followed up the collar, down the side of the jacket and ended about here, and also the pocket should have had a grey trim around them. It's not that too big of a deal, especially if the figure is just being placed on the front like this, so the collar doesn't really matter that much. However, I can't help but feel that if they carried it on along the jacket and on the pockets, then it just would have popped a lot more. The cuffs are both painted very nicely in the matching shade to that of the shirt piece. An interesting little feature is that of the ring on the hand. Now this was originally on the 3rd Doctor sculpt, and they've not swapped the hands over, which is a bit of a shame, but again, I'm not really that too bothered. They have painted it over, the detail is still there, but yeah, a little bit interesting, and just shows the costing of these figures, and they won't go to that expense of just switching the hand. All that lovely detail on the jacket is still retained. We've got the buttons there and all these seams going along the side and the back of the figure. The trousers compared to the previous release are done in a lighter shade, and the boots, we once again still have that lovely black gloss on the shoes, which is done very neatly with no spills. So overall, the 4th Doctor Regenerated figure is a figure that I just think is just about fine. It's a good figure, but it's not really one that I was wanting, especially for a B&M set as well, hence why I did not fork out for this originally when the time capsule set came out, as it just wasn't a figure that I was looking for. But the paint apps are nice, I think that the sculpt's good, so overall I don't really think you can complain with this figure. And now we move on to the main piece of this set, which is the 4th Doctor's TARDIS. Comparing this to the original release of the 3rd Doctor's TARDIS for B&M, I think that this new one just looks so much better. It's mad what a colour change can do. Now I feel that this much more darker colour for the TARDIS, it really complements its slender shape, and just overall just looks a lot more like the TARDIS that appears in this era. While this lighter shade, I just feel that it makes the police box itself look a little bit weird, especially with that black base. I still do like this TARDIS, but this TARDIS overall is just so much better. The colour of this TARDIS is a chalky darker blue, which, as I just mentioned, really does show off the detail and shape of the TARDIS a lot more adequately. A major variation for this set is the lit up white police box sign. Now, this is not accurate to Robot, I feel, as this front sign was not there in the episode, and I don't really remember many points in Robot where we actually did see the police box sign lit up like this. However, the next story, The Ark in Space, is a lot more accurate, as this opens up with the police box lights all lit up, and it looks very wonderful in that wonderful dark lighting. So I wouldn't say that this is accurate for Robot, but it's still definitely within the same season, especially for Ark in Space. The door sign for this TARDIS is different compared to the Perp we released last year, as this has a bit of a different font, which is, I do believe, accurate to the TARDIS used in season 12, and also the border on this one, it's done in a black rather than a blue. That's because that there actually wasn't a border on this TARDIS, it was just this one straight wooden panel, so they've just painted it black just to cover it up. After all, these are toys and parts get reused to give us more variations of the model. There is some accuracy to the lock and handle, as the lock is not painted blue, which is accurate to this model of the TARDIS, and the handle is painted silver. These actually should be the different way around, but again, parts have to be reused in order to make different variations of the TARDIS. There is lots of weathering on the box itself. This is done with a mix of a darker wash and a more of a white wash as well. As you can see, especially on this panel, I'm not sure if you can get this on camera correctly, you can just see a little bit of white highlighting, which gets into the crevices to make, I don't know, make this TARDIS look a bit more dusty. It's a lot more noticeable on the front for me. There's a little bit of a speck there, and just around you can see all the different weathering and how they get into the grooves of the wooden design, which the TARDIS back then, it wasn't wooden, but it does have the little bits of speckle in order to give that concrete look as well. In order to house the spring action system of the doors, the thicker base is once again present, which isn't accurate to the TARDIS of this era. However, just naturally due to this colour, I think it's blended in pretty well, and it really does add some nice complementary shape to the top of the TARDIS, giving it a bit of weight to the bottom of it, just to make it look a bit more robust. Something that caught me by surprise with this release is that the top of the lamp is grey. Now this is accurate to season 12 as far as I can remember, as in some shots, a few outdoor ones, and I do believe in Ark in Space, especially in that landing scene, you can see the grey top of the lamp, as they did give the TARDIS a bit of a revamp. The housing for the lamp is speckled with dirt all around, which I think is an absolutely lovely feature, as it really does make it look like this TARDIS has travelled across the universe and back quite a few times. Unfortunately, the back of the TARDIS, it still does have this ugly speaker grille and battery compartment, which is being glued shut, as this originally was electronic. Still, they've not figured out a way how to get rid of this by reusing one of these panels, so unfortunately for future TARDIS releases, I just think we're going to have to stick with this. As expected with the TARDIS, the doors do open and they close with the press of this button. Now the doors feel a lot more sturdy and a lot less cheap compared to the Pertwee box. To the touch, the TARDIS still does have a bit of that waxy feel, but I'm starting to think that's due to the paint, as this TARDIS just feels like it has a little bit more weight to it. It's a little bit more sturdy, a lot more robust, and at least the doors, they're not as flimsy, so that's good for me. Overall, I really love this TARDIS set. Is this better to last year's? It really depends on what you want from these sets. Last year's Pertwee set I feel had the better figure, as that Pertwee figure I just feel was superb. I love the B&M paint apps for Pertwee. It's just the best Pertwee paint apps that we've ever had, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. While this figure, it just looks a little bit dull compared to the bright colours that Pertwee had, but the TARDIS for this set is much better. It's a lot more accurate. It doesn't have that horrible black base. I really love the white police box signs to imitate that it's being lit up. It stands out. It's something that I really didn't think I would enjoy. I was a bit disappointed that it didn't have the standard black when it was announced, but in hand, on the shelf, it really does stand out. This set is just worth your £20. If you want a TARDIS, just get this, because the 4th Doctor TARDIS looks absolutely magnificent, especially on a high point of your shelf to pretend it's on the planet Khan. I very much hope that you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe for more reviews. My next review will be the 4th Doctor Adventures Series 8 from Big Finish, The Syndicate Master Plan. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time, and goodbye.